Hello, beauties, and welcome to Hormone Breakthrough Wednesday. Hello, I'm Robin Nielsen, and I'm so honored that you've chosen to be here with me because I know there are a lot of ways you could be spending your time. My mission is to show women how to take charge of their health naturally so we can heal and feel fabulous. We need us, the world needs us. I'm here to help you take back control of your health. Your healing starts right here. And just by showing up today, your genes, your genetics are already starting to express themselves for the better. You're already healing. So let's feel more confident, vibrant, and sexy together. I'm so excited to be here with you. And this music playing, isn't it gorgeous? Oh my gosh, it's You Are So Loved by the beautiful Heather Houston. And you can find her at heatherhoustonmusic.com, I believe. We can post the link right here for you. So wonderful to be here. Isn't it great? Thanksgiving here in the US is tomorrow. So please say hello. If you're just joining in, if you're watching the replay, say hello and where you're joining in from. Yes, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for this incredible community. We have almost 16,000 women in here. What a powerful community of love and light and hope and inspiration, right? All of it is right here. And I want you to know that we can have anything we want. We can have anything we want. We just have to say yes to ourselves. That's kind of how it goes. So please say hello. Please say where you're joining in from. So great. So if you're on Zoom with me, you can just type in. And I know that we're getting busy, right? We're getting ready for the beautiful holiday tomorrow, but I thought what a lovely opportunity to just hop in here with you and support you a little bit. Yes, we have a really lovely workshop coming up. It's the Menopause workshop. And today is really to talk about some of the things that we're going to talk about in the workshop and why it's so important. So today is all about to hormone replacement therapy or not to hormone replacement therapy. So I have HRT for short. And for those of you who are on HRT, you know what HRT is. And for those of you who are not and aren't even, there yet, you might not know that HRT stands for hormone replacement therapy. And even if you're on, thyroid hormone, that is hormone replacement therapy. So, I was trained by an endocrinologist. In fact, I'm certified under an endocrinologist in functional medicine. And what I learned is if your glands are not producing the hormones, then you need HRT. If your glands are producing hormone, but your hormones are just out of balance, then you don't need HRT. You need to fix other things. And that's what this topic today is about, is when do we seek out hormone replacement therapy and when do we need to fix other things? So I think this is a great segue into our workshop that's coming up. Let me just want to make sure that Lizette, who is on Facebook with you all, isn't trying to contact me. So I just want to share my screen with you for just a moment. And Lizette, we can go ahead and actually share the link for the workshop right now, just so that the ladies have it. It's a completely free workshop. There's no charge. It's called Menopause plus Menopause. And the reason that I created this workshop was because we have a poll in our beautiful Natural Solutions for Hormone Balance Sisterhood group. We have a poll on the things that you want to hear most about, and more than 800 women in this group chose this topic. So that's why I've created a workshop just on this topic. And I'm so glad because it's a big deal. There's so many baby boomers now getting, going into menopause. And it's a really important time for us to really step into our own. And I'll talk more about that in just a moment. So here is all about the workshop. So I think it's really important for you to know that you can eliminate hot flashes, insomnia, weight gain, anxiety, fatigue, depression, all those things that come with kind of a big transition in life. And these are some of the things that we're going to cover, right? And then what you're going to learn. So you can, click on that link to learn more. But definitely, if you're someone who is, I would say 40 plus, right? This is a great workshop for you. So if you're 40 years old or older, right? Great workshop for you. And even if you've been post-menopause for a while, it's still a great workshop, because you're going to learn some things that you've just got to know about if you want to feel well as, we're aging. And I was sharing in my private groups today with the women who are working one-on-one with me about, how an attitude of gratitude can, really help us to age well. And there was a great article today that my hot, sexy lover, my honey, shared with me about gratitude, and just 3 things, right? 3 things. It was called Thank Outside the Box, which I really liked. Thank Outside the Box. And one of them was to think about your own death. And I know it sounds kind of morbid and weird. I was grateful to see that, because I think about that. And there's some like strong emotions coming up for me right now around that. Wow. Yeah, feeling a lot right now, because I think about my grandparents and I think about their health challenges. And I think about my parents and their health challenges. And many of you know that, both of my parents passed away in January of 2021. And what was really interesting about that is they had been divorced for, I want to say maybe 30 years, maybe not quite that long, maybe 27 years, 30, yeah, close to 30 years. But they died 2 weeks apart. And so, of course, there was still a pretty strong connection there. And they both, passed away in pretty poor health. It was not, it was kind of years of struggle. They had years of struggle. And so it's why I'm so passionate about helping women find their way with their health. Because what we don't know, what isn't common knowledge, is that we can heal just about everything on our own. Just about everything, and I'd love to hear what you think about that right here. Just post in the chat, like, what do you think about that? Post in the comments. Do you believe that? Because that's a big statement. It's a really big statement. There's some forms of disease that have progressed so far that they're, they're unrepairable, but you can stop the progression of a lot of things, and a lot of things you can completely reverse, right? You can just completely reverse it. Oh, and that feels so good. So when I'm thinking about, think outside the box, and I'm thinking about my own mortality, I guess Steve Jobs talked about it in his favorite, his very famous commencement speech at Stanford, is that, coming into this world can kind of be a struggle, it's a struggle, and going out can be a struggle. And, I kind of picture my own death as I just want it to be peaceful, right? I want that transition to be lovely. I don't want it to end in a big mess, kind of like it happened with some of my relatives, and I'd love for you to maybe share what some of the issues were with your relatives who have passed away, or maybe they're still living, but they're still having health challenges. Yeah, some big things, I'm sure. And we have a few ladies on Zoom with me, and I'd love to hear from you, because I can definitely share that. I don't like to be too distracted, so I can't be on Facebook and on Zoom, but I know Lizette's there supporting you on Zoom. So I would love to hear, what your family members have experienced. And I bring this up in the context of hormone replacement therapy because things are starting to go in the wrong direction, when we're put on hormone replacement therapy. And, some of the symptoms that we might seek out hormone replacement therapy for, or what your doctor might say, oh, you just need a little estrogen and progesterone. And some docs might say you need some testosterone too, right? Is when maybe you can't get up off the couch, right? You're really tired. Weight gain, especially around the middle. That's a a big sign that things are not going well, but that can happen at any time in our lives. But things like hot flashes and night sweats, those are usually reserved for later in perimenopause and post-menopause. So let me define menopause a little bit here, because it's really not very clear for most of us. But menopause is really one day in a woman's life. And for me, it actually was one day. My period just stopped. It was in October of, can't remember what year it was, but I was 46 years old and my period just stopped and it never came back. And I'm someone who says yes to everything and does everything and wants to do it better than everybody else. And I'm go, go, go girl, right? I'm yes girl and go, go girl. And I think I just, completely stressed my body out so much. It's like, oh, can't do a period anymore. That takes too many resources. We're going to stop that right now. So I think that's what happened for me. Unfortunately, it still lands, within what's considered normal for menopause. But that one day that my period stopped is menopause. That's it. My period paused. My menstrual cycle paused and it never came back. So a blessing and a curse, right? So we know that once your menstrual cycle stops, now you have less estrogen, potentially less progesterone, probably less testosterone, right? You just have less hormones, less sex hormones, that is, right? Less sex hormones. So things start to go, downhill a little bit. Like that's the start of the whoo, right? With your health potentially. So, we think like bone health, right? When we think of menopause, we think of bone health, and that's a really big deal in my family because both my grandmother on my mom's side had hip deterioration. So my grandmother Helen had 2 or 3 hip surgeries because they only last so long, or they only lasted so long when she had them. And then she had to have it done again. And I think it was only on one side. I don't think that she had to have both hips done, but I can't remember. It was 2 or 3 surgeries. And then my mom, she had to have 2 hip surgeries. So, we want to think about that. We want to think about what has happened to our parents, what has happened to our grandparents, because those are the things that we inherit, right? And we also inherit something called organ deficiencies. So my great-grandfather was an alcoholic, right? My grandmother could have been considered an alcoholic. So, I'm inheriting potentially liver deficiencies, and my grandfather on the other side had Alzheimer's, right? So these are the things that I'm preventing, that I am paying attention to, that I'm really aware of. So menopause is one day, and then after that, it's post-menopause. But for many women, it doesn't happen that way. So for many women, your periods will just happen less frequently. So maybe every 3 to 4 months. And it's happened with me where I've had clients working with me and their period was really infrequent, or they hadn't had one for 6 months. And then we got their bodies healthier again and their period came back, and it came back regularly. So that's something that can happen too. So just so you know, it happens in a lot of different ways. And if you are post-menopause, you totally know your story. So maybe you can post here, how it happened for you, so other ladies kind of have an understanding of the varieties of ways that we can, go into post-menopause. Yeah. Monica says, we are having osteoporosis and rheumatoid arthritis problems in our family a lot. Yes. Oh, greetings from Poland. Oh my goodness. Yay, Monica. Yes. So my father had same thing, right? My grandmother, my mom, osteoporosis, and my father arthritis. And he thought for years that it was osteoarthritis, but I'm sure it was rheumatoid arthritis, because when I got him to change his diet and take supplements and take better care of himself, he was able to shake hands with people again. So for years, he couldn't even shake someone's hand. And when he took better care of himself, the pain went away enough so he could shake hands again with people. And that eventually took him out. The rheumatoid arthritis eventually took him out. The pain was so bad that he had to go on opioids. And that just absolutely did him in. So, and my mom had other issues, right? She had adrenal issues, she had liver issues, she had lung issues. So keep in mind that when we have adrenal issues and then, thyroid issues, and that's a little bit of a chicken and the egg, but thyroid is a compensatory gland. So it usually starts with adrenal. Then you get heart issues because it's really hard on your heart not to have good support. So that's for another conversation. We're just talking about to HRT or not to HRT today. So I just want to stick with that. So we want to give a big kiss to Monica for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing that, because those are the things that you want to pay attention to. So I went into menopause on one day. That was it. My period stopped and then I was postmenopause. So that's how it works. And yeah, thank you to you. And as we're headed towards menopause, we're in perimenopause, and that really starts in our late 30s, if you can believe that. So, I don't know. I think it's early 30s that actually estrogen and progesterone start to drop, progesterone more radically. And then by our late 30s, it's pretty significant. And then, as we go into our 40s, it's even more significant. And then, our period just eventually stops. And so one of the things that we're going to learn in the workshop is the two big hormones that we have to pay attention to, right? If we want to stay feeling well and healthy and age well, no matter if we're perimenopause or postmenopause, doesn't matter. I just didn't know this when my period completely stopped. So I had to kind of go back and learn things a little bit. I knew some of it, but I didn't know all of it, right? It's a learning process. So for complete transparency, I am on Bioidentical Hormone Replacement Therapy, BHRT. And I would like to talk about that for just a moment, because I think that that's a really important thing to talk about, especially today. So I'm not going to share a lot today. We're just going to keep this pretty short because I want you to for sure join the workshop. It's coming up December 5th or 6th. So they're going to be exactly the same. And I want you to pick a day and join in on that day. We're not going to do a replay. Live is really important. So pick a day and join me. But let's go over the common symptoms of perimenopause, postmenopause, so that you have an idea of what some of them are and how they just don't have to be. So common symptoms, obviously, right? Hot flashes, that's really common. Night sweats, really common. Mood problems, right? Anxiety, depression, irritability, grumpy, right? Kind of call it kind of the 7 dwarves of menopause. Itchy, witchy, bitchy, I don't know, all of that. Weight gain, right around the middle. Fatigue, we're so tired. Dryness. So this is a really big one, right? Vaginal dryness, pelvic floor dryness. And when we have dryness, what happens is a lot of things happen, actually. We have painful intercourse, right? Because the skin gets so thin down there. So if intercourse is painful, our urethra then shortens, which comes, so right where right where our vagina starts, right, is called the introitus. And right there is your urethra. And so if it's dry on your pelvic floor and your vagina is dry and the skin is thin, your urethra is going to be shorter. And when your urethra gets shorter, that's when leakage happens, right? Urinary incontinence. Maybe you sneeze, maybe you cough, maybe you laugh, and you leak urine. So what I want you to know from this day forward, it doesn't have to be that way. We can totally fix that. And you are like the top 0.5% of women in the world who know that, right? Unbelievable. But I want you to pass it on to every single woman you know, because it's totally fixable. Who wants to wear a pad for the rest of their lives, right? And sometimes you can't go far from the house if it's really bad, right? And it's embarrassing, and there's so many issues that go along with it. I won't even go into that. But what I want you to know here today is that you can fix it. And we'll talk a little bit more about this in the workshop for sure. And then some other things, let's see. Nope, I think that's it. Those are the main symptoms. And I'd love for you to post here any symptoms that you feel that I haven't mentioned are associated with perimenopause or postmenopause. Obviously infertility, right? You're not going to be making any babies if you're not having a cycle anymore or ovulating. That's going to be a big one, but we're not going to go into that because I can't reverse that for you unless you've gone into what's called premature ovarian failure. So POF, and that's something completely different, right? That's when you still could be having a cycle, but you're not, because you're too stressed out. So something's happened in your life that's kind of taken you out, and you've really gone into postmenopause too soon. So I shared that I went into postmenopause when I was 46. And what I want you to know about that is that I can't remember what the ages are, but it's like 44 to 55, something like that, are considered normal. To stop having your cycle completely. So those are good like numbers to have in your mind. But the earlier you go into menopause, the more challenging it is for your body. And that's because so there's a concept called building up and breaking down, right? Building up and breaking down. And I said that I would talk about the broken metabolism today. So let me just share, kind of jumping all over the place here. Yeah, I'd love to know some of the things that you feel happened for you once you were in perimenopause or postmenopause, symptoms that I didn't mention. And every single comment that you put on Facebook, I will read. So please post away, and then I'll come and comment on them too. So, so let me just tell you what your metabolism is. This is from, my favorite endocrinologist. It's the combined effects of all the varied biochemical processes that continually occur in your body on a cellular level. Okay, on a cellular level. And these processes enable every individual component of your body to function, making it possible for you to think, digest food, move, and perform all the functions of a living, breathing being. And some of the functions include bone and tissue regeneration, elimination, fertility, functions of all internal organs, mood, vision, hormone production, heart pumping, and even talking is part of your metabolism. So the processes are divided into two categories, those that build up your body and those that break down your body. And not all processes that break down your body are bad, because we need new, vibrant, healthier cells, right, in our body. So we're breaking down cells that are old and decrepit and not functioning well, right? And then we're making new cells. So something called apoptosis, that gets a little scientific. So, so what happens when we go into menopause early or even post-menopause, our body is just breaking down more than it's building up, right? We're breaking down more. And that's why we're experiencing, fatigue, weight gain, hot flashes, night sweats, irritability, grumpiness, depression, dryness, painful intercourse, incontinence. All of that is because we're breaking down too fast. So we need to get the building up at least even where you'll feel better, but we actually need to get it above breaking down so that you can restore, right? So we've been breaking down a lot over the years because we're busy doers. And we also have these underlying stressors that we don't even know about, right? I call them the hormone deal breakers. And I'm going to talk more about that in the workshop. But that is what causes us to break down really fast. So our goal as we age, as we go into perimenopause and postmenopause, is to really start being aware of how to build our bodies up more than we're breaking down, because we have some catching up to do. And that's kind of how I feel, around my family and my heredity, with the bones breaking down. Right. My doctor said years ago, you are the perfect candidate for osteoporosis. I'm not really that thin, but you're a thin white woman. I'm like, okay, thank you very much. Right. So putting that little seed in my head that my bones are going to start breaking down. And there's nothing you can do about it, basically, because the alternatives are not good. So, I'm constantly thinking, how can I build myself up? Because I like to break my body down. Do you like to break your body down? Do you like to do a lot, right? Are you the go-go girl like I am? Yeah, I like to play competitive tennis. I like to hike. I like to surf. I like to do a lot of things. And, just keeping my body supported and building up. You can imagine, what I think about and what I do for myself. So the question is to HRT or not to HRT. So the reason that you wouldn't do hormone replacement therapy first is because you've got to fix the underlying root causes of why you're having the hot flashes, of why you're tired, of why you can't think straight anymore. Oh, that is a biggie. We need to put that in there. Mental clarity, holy Toledo. Like forgetfulness, I think that's one of the hallmarks of postmenopausal women, forgetfulness. So I'm going to add that to my list. And you probably already told me about that, and I just haven't seen it yet. So forgetfulness. So we want to add mental clarity and a sharp memory, sharp memory to those things that we're looking to get. Yeah, so if you're experiencing any of these things, incontinence, painful intercourse, dryness, right? All of that, it's because you're breaking down too fast. And there are those root causes that are causing that. And so one of the things that you'll learn in the workshop is that we need to pay attention to two big hormones, because if we don't, you just won't be making your sex hormones. It just won't happen. And replacing them exogenously from the outside. So getting a prescription for hormones, progesterone, estrogen, maybe testosterone, maybe DHEA, is not going to fix the reasons that you're not making your sex hormones. Are you getting this? Does that make sense? And so we have to fix the hormone deal breakers first. And that's why, I hear a lot of women say, oh, I had all these symptoms of, thyroid symptoms. And so, my doctor put me on thyroid hormone and I felt better for a week. And then after that, I didn't feel well anymore. Like it helped me for a week and then that was it. And it's because your thyroid is a compensatory gland. So it's going to function at really, how do I say this? It's going to function according to what your body can handle, because your thyroid regulates your metabolism. And so if you have a weak link, right, like your digestion's not working well, or your adrenals are really tired, or whatever it is, it's going to slow down, right? So just taking thyroid replacement therapy, you're just going to cause heart palpitations and you're going to still feel like crap. So that's the same for estrogen and progesterone. There are a few women who take the hormone replacement therapy and it works like magic and they're good to go, right? Very few women, though, really resolve everything. And I think it's because there's a lack of awareness around what is actually going on. So in my programs, we take a lot of assessments. In fact, we have a Robin's Hormone Reset coming up in January. And you definitely want to participate in that if you haven't before, because you'll take a complete hormone assessment and you'll get to really see like what's going on with your body. And so you want to address the underlying root causes before you do hormone replacement therapy. I never even thought to do hormone replacement therapy for helping with some of the symptoms that I had post-menopause, because I was already on this path to really take care of myself and I was feeling pretty darn good. The reason that I went on hormone replacement therapy was because I tend towards frozen shoulder. So I've had 3.5 frozen shoulders now. And part of it was due to my bite that affected the alignment of my neck, that affected my shoulders. So that was kind of a long process figuring that out. But also the elasticity of your skin that estrogen provides is really key for me. And because my mom and my grandmother both had major hip issues, right? Major bone issues. I know that I've got to be really smart about this. And you can never, so these are notes that you need to be taking right now. You never take estrogen without progesterone. Never, ever, ever, ever. So if you are only on estrogen, you need to stop that right now and wait until you can get some progesterone, because they work together. And estrogen dominance, so you're creating something called estrogen dominance, which is very dangerous, right? In the sense that estrogen feeds cancer cells. Like it's one of the main reasons that we get cancer, because we're not metabolizing our estrogen well. And because of estrogen dominance. And then there are all these other symptoms that come with estrogen dominance. So that's number one, right? Number one. And number two is you always want to take bioidentical hormones, right? Bioidentical. And I found this PubMed study. So I think PubMed is a great place to look up your information because they actually do studies. And this is on the bioidentical hormone debate, right? Are bioidentical hormones, estradiol, estriol, progesterone, safer or more efficacious than commonly used synthetic versions in hormone replacement therapy? So just making sure Lizette's not trying to reach me. So this is really important to know. And I was so excited to find this study because, think, well, I don't know, is it better? I say it's better, but I'm not sure it's better. But they did the whole nurses study, and they found that it was the women were headed towards cancer, or some got cancer. So let me just share with you this was a study that they did, and I'll share the conclusion with you. The physiological data and clinical outcomes demonstrate that bioidentical hormones are associated with lower risks, including the risk of breast cancer and cardiovascular disease, mostly around the type of progesterone, either Premarin, right, non-bioidentical versus progesterone, bioidentical. Demonstrate that bioidentical hormones are associated with lower risks, including the risk of breast cancer, cardiovascular disease, and are more efficacious than their synthetic and animal-derived counterparts. Until evidence is found to the contrary, bioidentical hormones remain the preferred method of HRT, right? So not just breast cancer, though, is stimulated by estrogen. Most cancers are driven by estrogen, and estrogen isn't the only factor. So Yeah, this is not a discussion about cancer, but it's really important to know because my honey has had cancer twice in the last few years. And so I'm really like aware of this. And I know that he tends to turn testosterone into estrogen. So it's something that we really have to pay attention to. So what I want you to know around hormone replacement therapy, because we're going to end in just a moment here, and then we're going to talk more about perimenopause and menopause in the workshop. So be sure to sign up for that. It's free. You're going to love it. You and I are going to connect a lot. I want to get to know you. I want to support you. We're coming into the new year, and I want you to feel fully supported. I want 2023 to be your best year ever. I want it to be the year that you went from hormone hell to feeling pretty darn fabulous. And I'm getting sidetracked again, but what I want you to know is that women post-menopause actually step into their own. It's unbelievably fabulous. So here's the deal. Men become more like women as they age. Their estrogen just becomes a bigger player in their hormonal profile. And women become more like men. Testosterone becomes a bigger player in our hormonal profile. And what that means is that we start doing things that we love. We stop taking care of everybody else. We speak our mind a little bit more. We can feel more strongly when something doesn't resonate with us. We can tell if it's a hell yes or a hell no, just like that. And so many women have started a brand new career post-menopause. So ladies, you are in for something really, really special if you just say yes to yourself to take charge of your health. Are you feeling it? Yes, it's so exciting for me. I think it's the best thing. And I am someone who definitely did that. Like I've been doing this career for almost 20 years. And I started, I don't know, like 5 years before I hit menopause. And that kind of tells you how old I am. Can't believe I'm that old, but that's the reality of it. And I'm embracing it. And I'm so proud of myself. So that's what I want you to know is that it's a really incredible time of your life. If you know those 3 keys, right, to really rocking out perimenopause and postmenopause. So getting back to HRT, if you currently are not on Bioidentical, be sure to get on Bioidentical. If it's not helping you, you can just quit cold turkey. If it's not helping you, you can get off. Like it's not something that you have to ask permission to get off. And let's be smart about it, right? Let's do the right thing. And the other thing I want you to know about hormone replacement therapy is it's not just about taking hormones. It's about knowing how you're metabolizing your estrogen. And if you're taking testosterone, how you're metabolizing your testosterone, because it can create big problems down the line if you don't know that. Really important. Right? We want to make sure that we're metabolizing our estrogen in a really healthy way. So those are things that we'll learn in the workshop. And I hope that I've added some clarity around to HRT or not to HRT. And if you're not currently on hormone replacement therapy, don't get on it. Let's figure out what's causing, these symptoms of perimenopause and postmenopause, and let's fix them. And then if you have something weird like me, like you have a family history of osteoporosis or, frozen shoulder, or, we can talk about some of the other reasons that you might want to get on hormone replacement therapy. You can, but what I found is that most women who work with me in my private programs never need hormones. I'm so proud of my women who, do my private program and they do the work and they feel great. And they never need to go that extra step, because remember, it's kind of a crapshoot. You're bringing in hormones from the outside and you're kind of telling your body, well, here you go. And it may be enough. It may be too much. Like there's never any way of knowing. It really comes down to, is your body building up or is it breaking down, right? It really comes down to that. Are you keeping it built up enough? And we have to get those solid lifestyle self-care practices in place first so that you feel well, and then you can make an informed decision, right? You're not just using a Band-Aid, a temporary fix, while you're still using up your body too much, right? We want to get that building to be more than you're using so that we can really restore you. All right, so post any questions here around hormone replacement therapy or any questions here for the workshop, and we'll be sure to get them answered, and definitely sign up for the workshop. Would love to support you for your next steps and to really set you up. The reason that we're doing this in December is to really set you up for success in 2023. I want that so much for you. All right, sending you so much love. And please give others in our community love, just a heart on all of their comments, because that's how we heal together. Happy Thanksgiving.